Peace and blessings. Wholeness and health, love and light, everybody. I hope y'all been staying hydrated. Happy Friday. We're gonna get it in right quick. I know everybody wanna enjoy their weekend, so I ain't gonna hold y'all up, but I'm gonna touch in with the Soul Control family and the Soul Collective, and put a message out for the day. The topic is, what is psychology? We use psychology all the time, every day, in all different type of forms, But what is psychology? Hell, when we feel someone trying to pull a fast one over on us, we even use it in the term, oh, you trying to use psychology on me. But what is psychology? What does psychology tell us about people? More so, what does psychology, when we really look at ourselves and self-analyzation, what does psychology tell us about ourselves? What we're about to see as we go through the seat of the soul. But before I go to the seat of the soul, we're gonna see what type of synonyms they got for psychology. Psychological, closest we come. Mental, cerebral, psychical, intellectual, of the mind, conceptual, inward, subliminal, subconscious, perceptual, cognitive, prehensive, sensory, percipient, psychometric, emotional, emotive, irrational. Then it goes into other words of psychology. But my question is still, what is psychology? Because I think it goes deeper than that. If psychology, if an examination of others would give me a closer examination of myself, then psychology is way deeper than we've been applying that word. Let's see what seat of the soul has to say. Psychology. Psychology means soul knowledge. It means the study of spirit, but it has never been that. I can see that. Psychology is the study of cognitions, perceptions, and effects. It is the study of the personality. Because psychology is based upon the perceptions of the flesh sensory or human sense, five sensory personality, it is not able to recognize the soul. It is not able to understand the dynamics that underlie the values and behaviors of the personality. Just as medicine seeks to heal the body without recognizing the energy of the soul that lies behind the health or illness of the body, and therefore cannot heal the soul, psychology seeks to heal the personality without recognizing the force of the soul that lies behind the configuration and experiences of the personality, and therefore also cannot heal at the level of the soul. In order to develop and nurture your mind and your body, it is necessary to realize that you have a mind and a body. To heal directly at the level of the soul, it is first necessary to acknowledge that you have a soul. If you have a soul, is it a hollowness that mythologically fills your rib cage? No. If then your soul is real and alive with force and beingness, what is its purpose? To develop a healthy and disciplined mind and intellect that can expand wholesome and fully into any task requires more than merely recognizing the existence of the mind. It requires understanding how the mind works, what it desires, what strengthens it, and what weakens it. And then applying that knowledge. Acquired knowledge is applied knowledge. In the same way, it is not possible to consciously assist the soul in its evolution merely by recognizing the existence of the soul. So there's some work to be done. What is that work? It is necessary to understand that the soul's temperament, to learn what the soul can tolerate and what it cannot tolerate, what contributes to its health and what breaks its health down. These things must be looked at. And we're looking at them every day. We're just looking at them in the furthest end of the mirror. because our body tells us everything that's going on with our soul. But far and few make that connection. The means for doing this have not yet been developed. We have not yet created a disciplined and systematic understanding of the soul. But if you be still and you meditate, it'll unfold right before you. We do not understand how our behaviors and activities affect the soul. When we see the personality in dysfunction, we do not think of what this reveals about the soul, about ourselves. Because usually when we see the personality in dysfunction, we're judging it, we're talking about it, we're pointing the finger at it. Yet the personality is specific aspects of the soul reduced to a physical form. Therefore, dysfunction of the personality cannot be understood without an understanding of the soul. The fears, angers, and jealousies that deform the personality cannot be understood apart from the karmic circumstances that they serve. When you understand and truly overstand that the experiences of your life are necessary to the balancing of the energy of your soul, you are free to not react to them personally, to not create more negative karma for your soul. Nothing is personal, man. You can say what you want by me. Nothing is personal. You know, Father, forgive you because you know not what you do. That's a place of peace in me I carry today that I never had before. When I have the mentality of words could disrespect me, I really disrespected myself by acting out because somebody called me something that I felt was disrespectful for me. But once I changed my view of myself, man, it's a lot of things that I could tolerate people saying, that don't even affect me now. That's what wholeness do for you. This is pain by itself is merely pain, but the experience of pain coupled with understanding that the pain serves a worthy purpose is suffering. Suffering is meaningful. Suffering can be endured because there is a reason for it that is worth the effort. What is more worthy of your pain than the evolution of your soul? And if you suffering and you don't see sunshine at the end of the suffering that you presently doing, man, you better get up out of there. This does not mean that you become a martyr. When you understand that by consciously serving the evolution of your soul, you contribute the most that you can to your world. You become one who contributes consciously to the well-being and spiritual development of those who share the human learning experience with you. If you are unkind to yourself, you will be unkind to others. And if you are negligent of yourself, you will be that to others. Only by feeling compassion for yourself can you feel compassion for others. If you cannot love yourself, how can you love me? If you cannot stand and see others love, how you gonna stand and see me love? If you cannot treat your own self kindly, you will resent that treatment when you see it in anyone else. If you cannot love yourself, loving others becomes a very painful endeavor with only occasional moments of comfort. In other words, loving others or how you treat yourself is your own dose of your own medicine that you really give to others at the same time. Wow. Law of attraction, huh? Individuals who experience what might be thought of as a martyr attitude see themselves as giving all that they have to others. They see this as a form of loving, but in truth, the love that they give is contaminated because it's so filled with sorrow for themselves. A sense of guilt and powerlessness clouds the energy from their hearts, and so when their affection is felt by another, it does not feel good. Actually, it feels somehow thick with need. Yet the need is never articulated, so their love feels like cement pulling you, draining you. When you can do kindly things to yourself, then you know what it is to be able to love yourself. Then you can look at others who desperately need kindness and love and feel good about their getting it. Not patronizing, but truly good. This is the energy of the soul. This is the perception of the soul. Where there is no compassion, where there's guilt, remorse, anger, or sorrow, there's opportunity to heal that soul. What is the relationship of these experiences to a healthy soul and to a soul that is not healthy? What is a healthy soul? Reconciliation with oneself. Nothing is outside. I'm going to repeat that. What is a healthy soul? Reconciliation with oneself. Nothing is outside. When you're healed and you're whole, those who you have offended will automatically be healed from it, because it was never them, it was you. A spiritual psychology is necessary to answer these questions. A new discipline of the spirit that is truly of the spirit, that has its focus on the soul of the human being, human evolution, and the expansion of the spirit in matter is a very specific evolution. It is not haphazard. It is not chaotic. It is very specific. Faith knows what it's doing. It is not blind. It is specific. When certain necessary processes of the maturation of the union of matter and spirit are not honored, the spirit breaks down. You ever get right to the point of something being completed, and then everything is just shut down? It don't work out. You know, the deal you was about to close, you know, everything get to the door and it just don't work out. That because all the pieces ain't in place. And so therefore karma gonna act on that. We can continue to use the language, but let psychology then expand to include a language of the spirit. This will eventually become its first tongue, so to speak, and all psychosis and psychotic breakdown will eventually be put into its proper place, its proper language, which is shattered spirit. Reincarnation and the role of karma in the development of the soul, or past life experiences, which we need to get it more in tune with, will be central parts of spiritual psychology. The characteristics of a personality, the qualities that make one personality different from another, cannot be appreciated without an understanding of the karma that created these characteristics. They cannot always be understood in the terms of history and personality, but because they may reflect experiences that predate the personality, in some cases by centuries. It's something about me that predate me being here right now. I brought these memories with me. I share them with y'all every time I do a video. I share them with people every time I interact on the daily. And people doing this with me, but the difference is I remember and they don't. I came here on a spiritual mission. Though I'm in this body, I came here on a spiritual mission, and I've been in touch with that since 3 years old. And understanding and overstanding of each of these personalities, each of the lifetimes of a soul, is not necessary, but I remember. The numerous lifetimes of a soul are not equally central to the development of each of its personalities, but without awareness of the experiences of those lifetimes that bear directly upon the struggles of your present personality, you cannot understand the extent of what is being healed or what needs to be healed through your experiences, or seeking to come to a conclusion. If your soul was a Roman centurion, for instance, an Indian beggar, a Mexican mother, a nomad boy, and a medieval nun, among other incarnations, for example, and if the karmic patterns that were set into motion within those lifetimes are in motion within you now, you will not be able to understand your proclivities, your interests, or your ways of responding to different situations and circumstances without an awareness of the experiences of those lifetimes. And it may be that the medieval nun of your soul developed an ability to see an angel. What an extraordinary spiritual achievement. Your non-physical teacher will come to you upon those same frequencies of light. She gives to you the fruits of a lifetime of contemplation and struggle and pain and courage. The Roman centurion of your soul is not dead millennia ago. That energy can literally step into your body and want to hold a modern weapon out of curiosity. Do you dislike certain types of people? Were you drawn to medicine as a child? Are you frightened of small places? Reactions such as these are not always explainable in terms of the experiences of your life now as it is. The healing power at the core of psychology is the power of consciousness. Seeking out, facing with courage, and bringing into the light of consciousness that which is unconscious, and therefore in a position of power over the personality, is what heals. I got the sun under my feet, my ceiling fan turning. When you get there, you ought to know what that means. When that which needs to be made conscious is not recognized to exist, such as the experiences of lifetimes that were lived in other places and at other times, it cannot be held in this way. Have you left a partner or a spouse? Has a spouse or partner left you? It may be that your souls have graciously and with great compassion agreed to enact within this lifetime a situation that they have experienced together in another lifetime or other lifetimes, a situation that still has healing potential for both of you. It may be that your souls have agreed to a mutual balancing of energy so that one experienced the same painful loss that it inflicted upon the other at a previous time. This is some deep stuff. Experiences such as these are not meant to cause meaningless pain. There is not one act in the universe that is not compassionate. Most times we just don't recognize the compassion behind something that quote unquote hurts us, because and with the intent to really make us better, because we so used to drowning in or staying stuck in the hurt and not seeing the lesson or why we was even put in that position in the first place. Your patterns are the souls to whom you are closest in your lifetime. Your parents are the souls to whom you are closest in your lifetime and whose influence upon you is the greatest. This is so even if it does not appear that way. Even if, for example, you were separated from your parents or a parent at birth, your soul and the soul of your parents agreed to your relationship in order to balance the energy that each needed to be balanced or to activate dynamics within each other that are essential to the lessons that each must learn. And that's why you came through them. Without an awareness of your karmic interactions and connections, of the experiences of other lifetimes of your soul, you are not able to understand the depth of the potential awakenings that can result from your interactions with a parent or a sibling right now. I ain't gonna repeat it, because if y'all who really rocking with me, y'all paying attention, and y'all will go back and rewind it so you can catch what I said in case you missed it. Those who really rocking with me, I salute y'all. The exploration and understanding of intuition will be an essential part of spiritual psychology. Intuition is the voice of the non-physical world. Intuition is the voice of the non-physical world. It is the communication system that releases the five sensory or the flesh sense personality from the limitations of its five sensory being. It permits the multi-sensory personality to be multi-sensory or collective conscious or Christ conscious or in touch with your higher self, whatever language y'all use. I know all the languages. I'm just using the language to help y'all understand more clearly. It is the connection between the personality and its higher self and its guides and teachers. Psychology does not even recognize the intuition except as a curiosity. Shame on them. Therefore, it does not recognize the knowledge that is obtained through the intuition, and therefore this knowledge is not processed by the intellect. The flesh sense personality processes only the knowledge that it gathers and substantiates through its five senses, what it can taste, touch, see, hear, and smell. The Christ conscious personality, the collective conscious personality, acquires knowledge through its intuition. We sit, we meditate, we be still, we listen from within. And in processing that knowledge, aligns itself step by step with its soul. The conscious path to authentic power requires recognition of the non-physical dimensions of the human being, of the soul, and a growing knowledge of what the soul is and what it wants. What you came here to do. What is your soul psychology? Spirituality will be at the core of spiritual psychology. Spiritual psychology will be oriented towards spirituality, and spiritual crisis will be considered legitimate sufferings. Spiritual psychology will trace and understand the functional relationships between karma, reincarnation, intuition, and spirituality. It don't matter what you believe. If you hear, it's easy. It's evident. Spirituality has to do with the immortal process itself. You have your intuition, for example, but your spirituality is not limited to your personality and its intuitional system. Your spirituality encompasses your whole soul's journey, whereas your intuition is the way that your soul can contact your beingness to help in its survival situations, or in creative situations, or in inspirational situations, like I'm doing now. It is the way that, through your higher self, you can ask and receive assistance from other souls and from your teachers and guides. Your spirituality pertains that which is immortal within you, whereas when you leave your body, your spirituality encompasses your whole soul's journey, whereas your intuition is the way that your soul can contact your beingness to help it in survival situations, or in creative situations, or in inspirational situations. It is the way that, through your higher self, you can ask and receive assistance from other souls and from your teachers and guides. Your spirituality pertains to that which is immortal within you, whereas when you leave your body, the intuitional system, that which was developed for that body, will be left behind because it will no longer be necessary. You can't take it with you. You ever seen the hearse behind a U-Haul? Or a U-Haul behind the hearse? Me neither. Spiritual psychology is a discipline and systematic study of what is necessary to health of the soul. It will identify behaviors that operate in opposition to harmony and wholeness, in opposition to the energy of the soul. It will consider the broad-reaching elements of negativity and how many forms of negativity there are, and the effects they have upon the soul. Anything that increases separation within a person shatters the soul, or in some form diminishes its strength, not to be confused with its immortality. The soul, as it reduces itself to fit in a physical incarnation, has the blueprint of holism in it. A genetic spiritual pattern, so to speak, of holism is there and present, and when the personality operates outside of the genetic pattern of holism, dysfunction results. Spiritual psychology will bring to light those situations that would shatter the spirit if seen clearly. You got to be brutally honest. You got to start being brutally self-honest. Because brutality, for example, shatters the human spirit. An argument will shatter the human spirit. Getting mad will shatter the human spirit. You ever pay attention to how you feel after you've been arguing? The soul cannot tolerate brutality. It cannot tolerate abundances of pain and irrationality. It cannot tolerate being lied to. Consider that on our planet. It cannot tolerate non-forgiveness. It cannot tolerate jealousies and hatreds. These are contaminants, poisons for it. When the personality engages in these behaviors, it is as though it feeds its body arsenic again and again. It is just like that. These behaviors distort and contaminate and destroy the strength of the soul in the same way. This is this distortedness of the soul that the physical reduced counterpart of the soul, called the personality, takes on in order to cleanse, in order to let other souls see so that it can be helped. Put it all up. Understanding this dynamic is at the heart of the spiritual psychology. It is the foundation upon which spiritual psychology is built, so that when pain is seen, it is not responded to with judgment or ugliness or avoidance, but recognized as the soul's shadow. In this way we shall say, in this circumstance, let us heal him, let us heal her, let us not run from the unattractiveness of a shattered soul. So, that's deep. So now, that's what gave, quote unquote, Jesus the ability to say, Father, forgive them, because they know not what they do. And in that phrase, a healing can be released because there ain't no judgment in it. The personality of the shattered soul is unaware. There is a continual interaction between your personality and your soul. The question is, are you aware of it or are you not? If you are not aware of it, then it is not direct. It is indirect through having to move its currents through the density of doubt, through the density of unawareness. If you are aware of the guidance from your higher self and are receptive to it, that receptivity allows guidance to flow in instantly and immediately. If you are unaware and deny that there is any level of higher wisdom and guidance to your life, then God have pity on you. Nah, for real. If you are unaware and deny that there's any level of higher wisdom and guidance to your life, then the guidance must come through the density of physical events. Awareness first enters into a unaware personality through crisis. When the personality is not attached to or is apart from clear soul energy, it becomes seduced into the physical matterness of life. That always results in a personality crisis because the necessary strength and guidance that are meant to flow into the personality have been cut off. So a lot of people, I just came into their life, to get them out of identity crisis, and the thing is, they still delusional and still stuck in it. But they helped me get out of mine. I'm a whole now. The personality that is unaware of or denies the existence of its higher sources of wisdom cannot draw upon its guidance, its intuition, or any of the guiding mechanisms of our species. Therefore, crisis results. What is meant that crisis be central to our growth? No, this pattern evolved through the choices that were made by our species. The flow of our evolution did not have to include the pattern of crisis. It did not have to include the experience of pain and trauma. We made it so. Divine order that our species will move into wholeness at some point in its evolution is inevitable. Doubt has created and was chosen as the major teacher through the human choice. Our species chose this way of learning and therefore set karmic patterns into motion, generational karmic patterns. Awakening to the need to touch something more, touch one's own spiritual energy system, is now a well-worn path that includes the experience of becoming physically powerless in relation to the structure of the earth school before the soul will reach for genuine power. In other words, the awakening of the personality to the potential of the soul has come to require the loss of a mate, or the death of a child, or the collapse of a business, or some situation that renders the individual powerless. It requires the failure of external power that to the five-sense personality is crisis. Spiritual psychology addresses the situation by addressing directly the issue of authentic power. It is timely because it comes at a time when our species is evolving beyond the five-sensory or flesh-sense personality, beyond learning through materialism, exploration of the physical world, which is external power, and into the experiences of the Christ-conscious and collective conscious human being. The experiences of the non-physical world and the conscious journey toward authentic power through responsible choice with the assistance of non-physical guides and teachers. The personality, including the five-sensory personality, including the materialistic personality, is neither positive nor negative. It is a tool of the soul, a natural part of incarnation. The development of the five senses was a celebration in which the intellect was expanded and our species was allowed to learn through physical matter. The quest for external power came to be generated by insecurity, not because of the limitations of the five sensory or materialistic personality, but because of the choices that were made by our species to learn through fear and doubt instead of through wisdom. Our species is again being given the chance to choose how it will learn, how it will evolve. This is a time for us as a species and as individuals to choose again. I chose so long ago, I'm still on the choice that I made so long ago. It is an opportunity for us as a species and as individuals to choose differently, to choose otherwise, to choose this time to learn through love, wisdom, to take the vertical path of clarity, of conscious growth and conscious life. We are coming to the end of a phase of evolution that was written long before we existed. When the learning and evolution of our species was designed, it was designed to complement cycles, great cycles that work within the universe, within our galaxy, and within others, and within ourselves. These cycles move within physical form at certain speeds, serving certain purposes and balancing of energies. The cycle that we are ending and therefore beginning is of a moment in which three cycles come to conclusion and begin again. These cycles act one inside of the other, just as the moon orbits the earth, which orbits the sun, and their orbits are within orbit, so too. There are cycles within cycles. We are coming to the close of a grand cycle astrologically, a 2,000-year cycle, an even grander cycle where a 25,000-year cycle is linking with the conclusion of a 125,000-year cycle. That is why these things within this moment in our evolution are happening now. This is when they were meant to be. The negativity of the last 2,000 year cycle is being collected now so that it can be discharged and transformed so that the next cycle of 2,000 years, which starts with the next beginning of cycle of 25,000 years and the next beginning cycle of 125,000 years, all three simultaneously can begin afresh. So this is all a mirror. 2020 is a mirror. This is what the present situation and moment upon our earth is about. The birth of very different opportunities. Opportunities to release patterns that are no longer necessary. The more light, literally, the more enlightened that you are, the more you will choose different ways. Spiritual psychology will support the choice to learn through wisdom, the choice to release patterns of negativity, of doubt and fear that are no longer appropriate to who we are and what we are becoming. It will make clear the relationship between the personality and the soul, the differences between them and how to recognize those differences. It will make explicit the effectiveness of interactions between personalities from the perspective of the impersonal energy dynamics that they set into motion, and will show you how the dynamics can be used to be healed. And with that, peace and blessings, love and light, health and wholeness, man. This soul control. Salute to God. One love. Happy weekend.